Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am Crystal Dillard. I am a candidate for state representative for District 131 out of Houston. And welcome to my schoolhouse to the State House podcast, where every week we try to touch on subjects that are of interest, that are of concern to the people who live in District 131 and Houston at large. And one of the things that we're going to be talking about this week, and I'm so happy that my guests could join me here today because this is something that you hear information about a lot, but a lot of times people just don't know exactly what this is or even how this works. We're going to be talking about the difference between a homeowners association or an HOA and a civic club or civic organization. And they serve completely different purposes. And I've got someone here today. Um, I've got one of my good friends, Nick, and I've got another very good friend, Monica, and they are sitting on opposite sides of the fence, not in terms of the understanding the importance of a civic organization, but Nick is a person who has been a committed homeowner for the past how many years?
14 years.
14 years. He was one of the first people in his neighborhood. And Monica has been, well, she has been in her home for many more years. How many years, Monica?
I'll say 40 plus.
Okay, 40 plus years in the same neighborhood, in the same home. And Monica, along with other neighbors many years ago, decided when it was very new to do this, to start a civic club in the neighborhood to make sure that that neighborhood was able to maintain its livability. And that is so important. And because of that, I can tell you for sure, because I grew up right next door to Monica, I can tell you for sure that it's a safe neighborhood to be in, and people are still moving into that very neighborhood right now. But without any further ado, I'm going to let Monica introduce herself first, and we're only identifying everyone by their first name and the last letter of their name. And we want to do that because this is not necessarily about anyone knowing exactly all of the details about someone, but these individuals are sharing information that may be helpful to other people in the community. I do want to say that my guests appearing here with me today are in no way an endorsement of a political party, a political candidate. They are here for informational resources only, and maybe they'll help someone who's got the same question about what's going on when they get off this call today. So, Monica, can you please introduce yourself to us?
Okay, I will. Thank you. My name is Monica S. I am the president of Bayou Terrace Civic Club. I have been the president since 2004. I did not start the actual civic club, but I did come in as an officer to the organization under Mary Henley back in 2004. I was the vice president, I should say, and I did take presidency in 2004.
So we're going to do a little bit of rough math there. Monica, close to 18 years, a little bit. So that's
Absolutely.
enough to know what's going on in the Civic Association. And Nick, can you introduce yourself to us and let us know what sparked your interest in possibly starting a civic club in your neighborhood?
My name's Nick A. And I wanted to start a civic club in our neighborhood to fix up the neighborhood and start getting it cleaned up.
Yeah. And, Nick and I had this conversation, and I'm just going to give you a little bit of background, Monica. Nick and I had this conversation uh, last week, and it really sparked an interest for me because I'm familiar with the neighborhood that Nick is talking about. And I remember, as a matter of fact, I even looked at a house in that neighborhood. I remember when it was built, and there were very nice houses in the neighborhood, and the neighborhood was a very beautiful little neighborhood when it started, and it's still visually not a bad looking neighborhood at all.
Right.
But Nick has some concerns because he was an original homeowner in that neighborhood when it started, and in living there, he has been able to witness some things that have happened because of lack of a civic club, that maybe with a civic club can it can curtail some of the pitfalls that can happen in neighborhoods. So let me ask you this, Nick. What are some of the past or current issues that made you consider starting a civic club? And you can kind of go into detail without going into, of course, calling names, or even we're not even going to mention the name of the neighborhood. But what are some of the things that made you concerned when you and your family moved into that neighborhood and began to live there and saw things start to shift?
I moved in the neighborhood in 2007. It was a nice neighborhood. It wasn't that many houses, and there were a small section of houses there. And then they started building more houses. A company came in and bought the real estate and started putting more houses. Then the crime started picking up.
Mhm.
You know, you would have your car sitting outside. You get up in the morning, the wheels would be gone, and there will be a lot of shooting, like it's still going on,
Wow.
and people going into other people's property and stealing,
Right.
and you see it broad daylight, even the drug dealing in broad
Yeah.
daylight.
Well, and that's one of those kind of things that Monica, first of all, let's do this. And Monica, you may be a bit of a more of an expert at this, because I'm sure you hear this all the time. Can you make the distinction for us between an HOA and a civic organization?
Yes, I'll make that briefly.
Uh-huh.
The HOAs are required in a community, and they require that you pay dues,
Yes.
a monthly or an annual
Right.
dues.
Right.
That's required.
Okay.
Normally, the builders, from my understanding,
Yes.
are the ones that actually incorporate that
Okay.
for the communities.
Okay.
And a civic club, in turn, is an organization that is done on a voluntary basis. However, like I tell my residents,
Right.
you are a member of the organization, whether you're active or inactive,
If you're in that
if
neighborhood.
you live in
Yes.
the community.
Yes.
And it's okay for you not to be active.
Right.
However, you will have to abide by all the rules and regulations of the organization.
Now that is something that I think it's important for people to know and understand,
Yes.
because my sister and Nick and I were talking about this the other day, in that when you do have a civic club that is visible, and people know that it's active, and they know that neighbors are paying attention, and they know that neighbors are putting, are sending correspondence if something is amiss, that in itself is a deterrent for certain type of activity even coming into the area. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
and tell us, give us some examples, because I know you've seen it all.
I've seen it all. I've heard
I know
it
you.
all.
Yes.
And I live it.
Yes.
Believe it or not, because I live in the community.
Yes.
So I think it's important for visibility to be, you have to be present in your communities. People have to know who you are, or either they have heard who you are.
Yes.
And it makes a difference. Okay. Connectivity. You have to be connected to the forces at B, law
Yes.
enforcement,
Right.
Precinct 7, HPD, the sheriff's department.
Yeah.
You have to have some kind of connection with these entities
Yes.
in order to be protected. You pick up the phone, make a call, you get responses.
Right.
Because they know that you are active and you're trying to see that the communities are safe.
And I would say that the civic club is probably going to get many, many more responses than just an individual calling from that particular neighborhood, if they heard gunshots, or if the police department, if the constables, if the sheriff's department
Mhm.
is familiar with that civic organization because they've had constant communication with them,
Yes.
then they're probably going to be um, a lot more in tune with responding or taking it seriously, because these are people that they interact with.
Absolutely. Yes.
Now, Nick, let me ask you this. You were telling us the other day that you are aware that at some point there were a couple of people who maybe tried to start a civic club in the area, but there were what kind of resistance did they run into?
Well, the resistance was the people, I guess, when it was HOA years ago.
Hmm.
And it's not HOA now.
uh,
Is there
part
HOA?
of it is HOA
Okay.
and part of it ain't.
Okay.
Okay. The HOA,
Hmm.
some of the money disappeared.
Okay.
And
It
so,
happens.
so
People
the
are
people
skeptical of-
got upset
Yes.
about the money disappearing.
Right.
And when they came out, started asking for people to write another check
Yes.
for HOA, I said no.
Yeah.
And then she told me I had a big mouth,
Yeah.
and I said no. It's because
Uh-huh.
what I see
Mhm.
is not good, and you
Yes.
promised the people in this community this
Hmm.
and that,
Right.
and we never seen none of it.
Exactly.
And where'd your money go?
And that's what I told them. Where'd the money go? And all you do is hot dog parties, hamburger parties.
Right.
Mhm.
But where's all this? You said they were going to put a playground for the kids, a clubhouse,
Mhm.
and the back section of our subdivision was going to be boarded up so you won't see the other section of a business.
Right.
It never got done.
Yes. And people are paying
And,
their
and they
paying
were
their
paying their
HOA.
dues,
Right.
and nothing got done. And so everybody would get mad at me because I
Mhm.
would say something.
Mhm.
But I tell them, I said, on my contract, on my home, did not
Right.
say HOA.
Okay.
So I said, I don't owe nobody nothing.
Okay.
Okay. Then I started keeping up my yard, keeping it nice.
Mhm.
Everybody looks, oh, Mr. Nick keeps his yard nice
Right.
Yeah.
and green every year round.
Mhm.
And I said, well, y'all can do the same thing. And then
That's right.
where we live in the end of Cossack,
Mhm.
that area looks clean.
Yeah.
But when you go to the front,
Mhm.
we have difficult where some of them either don't cut their grass, and then you got cars sitting there junked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
But you can't really talk to you can talk to very few people in the neighborhood.
And
Yes.
you know what, Nick? One thing one reason that I really wanted to bring Monica in is because I'm sure that when the civic organization in her area started out, there was probably some resistance too. And you're always going to have a few people here and there
Yeah.
who are going to offer that kind of resistance. But how do you circumvent or go around those kind of things if you are determined to get something started?
Keep moving forward. Keep moving forward, because people will not always be on the same page.
Right.
Right.
Okay. But accountability is very important. And I tell people I pay for things out of my pocket
Right.
before I will ask anybody to, contribute to something besides the dues that they normally pay.
Right.
The households that don't pay, they still get the same treatment that anybody in the community will.
Okay.
Well,
So-
Monica, but with your civic club now I have known you all your life since her parents brought her home from the hospital. Okay. And I've known that you've always been an assertive person who made sure that you when you talk the talk, you walk the walk.
Exactly.
And in order to get people to comply with what you're asking and letting them know that this is simply for their benefit. The civic club is not for your benefit. It's for the benefit of the community as a whole.
Yes.
how can you get people to buy in? What is the buy-in? Especially if you're starting 14 years out, but you still see promise. And I like to see people like Nick, because Nick is not willing to just leave the neighborhood. He wants to stay there. He likes where he lives. He likes the area that it's in. He has students in school in that area, and he wants to stay in that area, but he wants to make that area the kind of place where people want to live. Where does he start?
Okay. Well, it's important that people stay grounded.
Yeah.
I should say, if you can stay in a community, make it the community that you want it to be.
Right.
I tell people all the time, any community that you invest in will certainly give you what you're looking for. So with that being said, staying connected again, getting the city involved, attending meetings in the community.
Like what type of meetings?
Well, meetings with the Houston Police Department. They have a monthly meeting for all Civic Club presidents, for all Civic Club participants or interest.
Okay.
If you're interested in what's going on, if you want to know what's going on, you get connected with a PIP meeting. And that's a positive interactive meeting that the police department gives for community citizens.
Okay.
District, I live in District D.
Okay.
City Council.
Yes.
That's another important place to go, because they will help facilitate anything that you need in a community.
So you need a contact person there with your city council person.
Exactly.
Yes.
And also, I was the one to go a little step further, and I did the at-large council people.
Yeah.
They can work in any district, and people don't use them quite often.
Right.
But Kuba, I should say, and I hate to use names, but he has been one that's been very instrumental in assisting. You write them letters, emails, and guess what? They respond.
Because at the end of the day, Monica and Nick, if I live in a community and my community is only or neighborhood, and my neighborhood is only a mile away from yours, it's going to affect the way I feel about my community if you're having trouble with yours and there's crime going rampant, or vice versa. So it's in everybody's best interest that everyone's neighborhood has got that livability quotient that is positive. People are staying in homes longer. People are wanting to build neighborhoods. You've got younger people coming back into established neighborhoods, and everybody wants somewhere that is going to be safe for them to be. Monica, can you tell me the steps? Lay them out one by one. If Nick or someone in Nick's position wanted to start tomorrow, what are the steps that he would need to take? Does he need to incorporate? Does he need to go and get a LLC? What does he need to do to start an association in his neighborhood?
Okay. The first thing I would say would be to get with as many residents in the community that are willing and interested. Exactly. So you have to, at least if it's only 2 or 3.
Yes,
that's fine.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah,
if you talk about 2 or 3 people, guess what? You'll be surprised at the people that will get on board or the impact that 2 or 3 can make.
Yes,
with a community of 200.
Wow.
Yes, you'll be surprised. And you go to the certain meetings. If you contact District D, they will tell you. Well, not District D in particular,
whatever district,
whatever district you live in for city council.
Yes,
they will help guide you through the process. And it's no incorporation. That's not necessary.
Okay.
But then, of course, once you establish, you'll have to get your bylaws together. There are certain steps, and they will give you one by one instructions as to what needs to be done.
Where would he get that from? Would he go on YouTube?
I would say the city of Houston.
They can?
The city of Houston. And the next part is the mayor's office, the liaison for whatever community you live in. They are very instrumental.
Stop. Okay, so there's a such thing as a mayor's liaison that serves all the different communities?
That's correct. Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes. Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely. And I kind of spearhead National Night Out.
Yes.
We had the liaison was there for the mayor's office. for
Yes.
National Night Out for our community. So they will be more than happy to
Yeah.
assist and to tell you what you need to do.
In my neighborhood,
Mhm.
they don't have National Night Out.
Well,
And
that's
see,
what you
not
have
at
to
all.
start.
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Exactly.
And what my sister and I were telling Nick this past weekend is that, and sometimes just when you get that first interest meeting together, you can you don't have to bring anybody in your house. Y'all can have it on your driveway, just a little, and have a little potluck, or somebody put some chicken on the grill, or whatever, and just to see what interest is like. Put some signs out 2 or 3 days before Civic Club interest meeting on this particular day. See who shows up.
Yeah, see who shows up.
See who shows up, because if you throw it out there, you might be surprised as to how many people feel the way you do about the neighborhood. But everyone's staying to themselves. Everyone, if you're afraid, if you have concerns, other people have concerns too.
Right.
Yeah. And so, Monica, we get an interest meeting together. Contact your city council person.
Yes.
Get some bylaws together. Now, we live in a tech savvy world, so you know what? I'll bet right now, if you Google Civic Club bylaws, no less than 200 different answers will come up on there, and you can start with some simple ones.
Exactly.
Start with
Standards.
some simple ones, standard ones, and almost probably a template, and you just fill in your name with those kind of things.
Yes.
And Monica, are we talking about something that people need to vote on? Is it the kind of thing that if Nick is the one who is spearheading this, do people need to vote for him to be the organizer of it, or the president? How does that go?
Well, that is once a organization is formed.
Okay.
Robert's
rules. Yes.
Yes. That will kind of guide you.
Okay.
And tell you what you need to do for the organization to be successful, and for everyone to have a set of rules to follow.
Okay.
Yes.
Is it best to keep it relatively simple at first?
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay. What were some of the pitfalls that when you first became president? I know that you had that groundwork from Mrs. Henley that was already kind of laid out for you.
Right.
But when you took the ball from that point to start moving it forward, what were some of the things that you ran into that you maybe didn't anticipate?
I want to say the lack of participation, of the consistency. Let's just say that, because some months, people would participate. The next months it was like, how
do you keep that interest up?
Well, here again, you can only give information. I'm one of those that I believe in giving you all the information you need, your heavy trash dates, your, when everything, the trash can be put out. Your trash cans need to be put in by a certain time. So if I give you that information, then certainly, and I know that I've placed out newsletters within a community, I know that everybody has the information.
Right.
Well, if I see that people are not abiding by it, then I pick up the phone and make the call to 311 and have the city to come out. They're either going to come out and warn you, or they're going to give you a citation. So it's steps that you take.
It packs a little more punch when you are when you actually have a civic club than you calling on your neighbor saying, well, this guy's is next to me and blah, blah, blah. If the civic club actually comes out, that would probably make the city realize that you have a concerned entity that's concerned about this. And you don't have people driving trash to the end of the street, dropping it off, and then pulling out of the neighborhood, burning out. Lack of participation. What else were some of the things that he needs to be aware of? Well,
to be honest with you, that was about the only thing initially.
Okay.
But after people saw that I was being consistent and giving newsletters, reaching out to people, stopping and saying hello when I see you outside, if you appear to be approachable. Not everybody's approachable.
Wow.
Okay. So that's something that you would have to determine, by body language, or, if it's a distance at this point with COVID where we are, then certainly, we just have to figure out what is going to work for the community, and you just talk to people. But I did not have any really major issues because I was determined,
Yeah.
because of the fact that I grew up in the community, I was
To keep it-
determined to keep the neighborhood like it was when
Yes.
I grew up as a child,
Yes.
and to protect the seniors
Mhm.
that, you know, raised me
Right.
along with their kids. And I was there, I wanted to be there for them. So that was the
Now,
main
now,
thing.
Monica, with your neighborhood being a neighborhood that was established in the late 50s, early 60s,
Yes.
how many of your original families would you say? I'm not saying the original owners,
Mhm.
because you know that's probably a lot of them are no longer here, but the families of the original owners are still in their homes.
I'm
If you
gonna
could guesstimate.
say I want to say about 50
Wow.
out of the 200. We have
Yes.
200 homes in our community, and out of all those 200, I want to say at least about 50 families are still.
Okay. And this is something, and that's good. That's a pretty high, that's a
Mhm.
pretty high ratio. It really is, because you see people, communities start and
Mhm.
people move out after 10 years, and then
Right.
that community just becomes, you know, and it's
Mhm.
hard to keep it. Everyone is not necessarily going to have the same vested idea or
Exactly.
interest in keeping that community nice as someone who may have seen that community grow.
Right.
Nick was saying this on the other day when we talked, and I want to ask you if this has presented a special challenge or if this is something that you've been able to use to your advantage.
Okay.
Nick's community is a diverse community. You have people of all different races and ethnicities in the community.
Mhm.
Your community, I know, over the past 20 years has become a lot more diverse.
It has.
Has that been something that you've been able to use to your advantage in the neighborhood association, in terms of keeping the interest there with everyone?
I would say yes. And I also like to say that for as the diversity comes,
Mhm.
it's just happened within the last 2 years.
Really?
To be honest with you,
Wow.
it really has. And
Okay.
of course, COVID has kept us in, so I have not
Yeah,
gotten a
to
chance
meet
to
everyone.
meet
Yeah.
everyone. So we, you see people from a distance, and you see them, they see
Right.
you, but you still have not had the opportunity to give them a
Yes.
newsletter, welcome them to the community.
Yes.
And that's kind of where I am now.
Yeah.
With that, welcome them, trying to figure out who they are so
Yes.
they know who I am. But really and truly, I think it's gonna work well.
I think it is. And the thing about it is, and what I was telling Nick, it's not going backwards. If anything, communities are becoming more and more diverse. They're not becoming more homogenous.
Right.
And it's so important to be able to use those differences to your advantage to strengthen that community.
Yes, definitely.
Nick, let me ask you this. Do you Monica, let me ask you this first, and then Nick can kind of chime in on this.
Okay.
What are some of the activities that you try and plan for your community to get the neighbors out there, other than the National Night Out? What are some of the things that you plan, or things that you found to be successful?
Okay. Well, let's just go back a little bit. Now, I have a retired senior community.
Yes. Yes,
Okay?
you do.
So,
Mhm.
therefore, you have to keep it within the line of the seniors.
Okay.
And we found that line dancing seniors love the line. If they don't participate, they like to come.
Wow.
So we would go and meet over at the park
Uh-huh.
just for them to get out, to
Yes.
come over. Then we kind of incorporated some bingo. Then we just kind of did checkers. So, then it became a fun time just to come out and meet your neighbor.
Yes.
And we did that maybe like on a Wednesday or Thursday.
Now you said in conjunction with the park, and Nick's neighborhood, I can say this for sure. It may be a little bit different, but Nick, you've got a younger demographic in your neighborhood.
Okay.
What are some of the things that you would suggest, maybe, or what are some of the things that you've noticed that your neighbors like to participate in?
Well, they like to do like 4th of July,
Yeah.
because we did a couple of years back, did a block party.
Yeah.
So
How did that go?
We blocked
Right.
off the road.
Uh-huh.
We had almost all the neighborhood there.
Wow.
And we all put food in,
Yeah.
and it was nice. And we
Right.
haven't done it in a while,
Mhm.
because everybody the situation now,
The COVID and
the
everything.
COVID,
Yeah.
and so we're thinking about putting that back up again.
Yes.
Just block off our street and let
Right.
everybody just come in. Well, that's the only
Exactly.
thing I
Yeah.
know that worked pretty good,
Yeah.
so far.
And that's an
That's-
excellent start, a block
It
party,
is.
because that's when it's non-committal. You kind of get to know everyone. Everyone
Right.
is there on their own terms. But Monica, block party, how would that kind of thing work? Are you allowed to block off a city street? Does he need to get permits? What needs to happen for that kind of thing?
Technically, yes.
Okay.
However, in a
Monica's gonna know.
community-
She's gonna know the way
in
to.
the community, and if you talk to your neighbors and everybody is pretty much okay, just inform them. Let's just say that.
Yes.
Because information is powerful.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
if I know what's going on, either I can choose not to be at home or I can choose to
Yes.
join you.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
but
Yes.
when people don't know, I guess the element of surprise, kind of catches people off guard. Well, I didn't know that was going on. Then, of course, they become bitter and they're upset. But if you include them, I just think that everything would be fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that
Yes.
you'd have a problem.
No, we send out. We printed up flyers.
Yeah.
We send them out because by law you can't post them
Leaflet.
in the mail. Yeah, so,
Leaflet.
so
Okay.
I just
yes.
wrap it in a rubber band
Yeah.
and put it on the door
door.
handle.
Yeah.
So that way you don't get legally charged for
That's
that.
right.
So we did that, and
Mhm.
then we said everybody bring something,
Right.
and that's what happened. Everybody started coming and bringing stuff, and
Yeah.
one of the homeowners across from me,
Uh-huh.
she says, "I'm gonna block the street." So she put her car, 2 cars, and she blocked the street. She says that way nobody can come in
Driving
and out
through. Yes.
with all the kids and everybody.
Right.
So I said, okay, and I said, if not, I call some friends.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They're officers.
Right.
Right.
And I said, if I have a problem, I'll call them. But
Yeah.
it came out very nice. They enjoyed it. And now
Wonderful.
they want to do it again, but
Yeah.
trying to get everybody together.
Nick, you're the man.
So
You're the man.
we're hoping we can get it done again.
Yeah, that's what my sister and I were saying. Nick, when you've got someone who wants this to happen, you'd be surprised how many people will follow your lead,
Right.
and getting those kind of things done. With the civic organization, with the civic club, Monica, let me ask you this now. What exactly are the things that Nick would be allowed to do? You mentioned a few things, just going over a few things, and it immediately when you said that, in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, I thought only an HOA could do that. Oh, only an HOA could do that. Now, but you said that what's going to be within the boundaries of what a civic club can do, because based on what you're saying, it seems like a civic club can really make quite a difference in the way that a neighborhood operates and the way that it looks and the way that it's visually appealing. A civic club can actually tell people that they cannot put out their trash until a certain, their heavy trash to a certain, and that's a good thing, because you see that all the time, even in nice
Yes.
neighborhoods.
Right.
You see people put out trash a month before, and it kills all the grass,
Right.
and it just makes everything look horrible. And obviously they're waiting for somebody to say, well, I dare you to tell me something. How does that kind of thing work? What's within the boundaries of what a civic club can do?
Well, first of all,
What do you do?
the city of Houston
Okay.
has the authority
Yes.
to come out
Okay.
and tell citizens. Actually, the Department of Neighborhoods, let me just get specific.
Okay.
The Department of Neighborhoods is the department that handles nuisance in
Okay.
communities.
Okay.
So it's good to know who those
What's considered a
inspectors are.
nuisance?
Heavy trash out early.
Okay.
Heavy trash out on a inappropriate day, because now we have trees on 1 month and junk waste
Yes.
on the
Right.
next month.
Right.
So that's
Right.
the trash cans
Left
in
out.
plain view.
Yes.
Trash can cannot stay on the street
Right.
for an entire week.
Yes.
Once your trash has
Okay.
been picked up, if your trash day is on Friday, by 10 p.m. on Friday, your
Put it
trash
behind the
can
fence.
should
That's
be
right.
out of plain view.
Right.
Junk, a motor, let's say JMV, and that's a
Mhm,
junk
junk
motor
motor
vehicle.
Okay.
No vehicle can be on a property longer than 30 days and not running.
Okay.
City
Now
of
let me
Houston
ask
ordinance.
you this. How can you tell if someone's car is running? Do they need so the neighbors need to move their car around at least so that people can know that it's, because I've seen some cars that I thought were junk cars and somebody's driving those to work every day.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings.
No.
You
Of
know,
course
so
not.
so how do you go about doing that kind of thing without overstepping your boundaries?
Flat tires.
Okay, that's a good, yeah,
No tires.
Mhm.
yeah,
I mean, those are obvious signs that those vehicles
or
are
maybe
not
windows
moving.
broken out of, yeah.
Well, about the windows.
Yeah,
Make drive with the
it's
windows.
like I got 3 or 4 cars.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I got 1 car garage,
Uh-huh.
and one day somebody called the city
Uh-huh.
because I had my car parked on my side, in front of my house this way.
On the
And-
wrong side of the street.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
and they gave me 2 tickets,
Yeah.
and they go, because you don't move it. I said, well, ma'am, I drive
Mm-hmm.
1 car one day and the other one like that. I swap.
Yeah.
So I said, how you don't? I don't drive it. I said, I can move it just frontward a little bit
Yeah.
and go and then leave it right there.
Mm-hmm.
So HPD says, well, you got to drive them. I said, well, it's one of me and 4 cars,
Right.
Yeah.
you know, but, it's like I tell them, there's a lot of people that got cars because first I had to take them off the street
Right.
Mm-hmm.
and put them on top of my grass.
Yeah. Which you didn't want to do.
And I
Yeah.
didn't want to do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, well, they already called on me twice.
Yes.
Mhm.
So I paid 2 tickets. So finally I said, I'm going to put it on the street. I guess whoever called
Mm-hmm.
don't do it anymore.
Right.
Okay.
So they leave my cars alone. But I drive them.
Yes.
Like one week I drive one, the next week I drive the other one. And I
Yes.
go like that. And then, like I said, it sits there. They
Right.
get driven, but, you can't drive them every day.
Right.
Or 3 or 4 cars.
And can a
Yeah.
neighborhood, can a civic club, Monica, can a civic
Mhm.
association determine how many cars can be parked in front of a house?
No.
Or is that the city?
The city of Houston.
Okay.
The city of Houston. And the next thing with the city of Houston,
Uh-huh.
the city of Houston ordinance
Uh-huh.
states that any vehicle parked on the city street must move every 24 hours. That's what the city said.
Yeah.
Now, if you just move it
Yes.
up a little bit or back a little bit, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But as long as
Yes.
it moves
Monica,
every
sitting
day,
here with you is like going to city school.
Just because they
It
mark
is,
with the-
because-
They will mark your
with the
tires.
white
Yes.
marker.
they come out and mark
Yes,
your
they do.
tires.
Oh my
Exactly.
goodness. I had
Yes.
no
Yes,
idea.
and that's when they issue the citations.
Uh-huh.
If they see that come back in that mark, it's still
Still
there.
the same.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
they'll
Yeah.
issue a citation because then they can tell you,
Oh,
no,
wow.
we know you're not driving it
Mhm.
because this is our mark.
Yes.
They can't just immediately come out and give citations. They do their due
Yeah.
diligence.
Mhm.
They don't tell you all the time.
Yes.
but
Right.
that is what happens.
Okay, well, how about this? And I'm sure that
Mhm.
this is one that Nick is concerned with because he brought this up to us.
Mhm.
Windows broken out of a house,
Okay.
homes that need painting,
Mhm.
siding coming off of a house. Is that something that the Civic Association can address?
You can certainly do that through the Department of Neighborhoods.
Okay.
They would be the ones to
Okay.
come out and do their assessment, just like with things in the front yard.
Yes.
A whole lot.
Trash in the front yard.
That
Yes.
is considered exterior storage.
Okay.
That is
Okay.
against the Department of Neighborhood.
It's got to be
guidelines.
out of
It
sight.
has to be out of sight. Refrigerators can't sit on your front porch or
Porch.
your front lawn.
Sofas.
Sofas cannot
Yeah.
sit. I mean, we
Yeah.
get it. You chair maybe, but sofas is considered exterior storage. And
Right.
It is
Right.
in the ordinance not to be there.
How can you get the rules and ordinance in paper?
It's online. It's online. City of Houston,
Yeah, but
Department of Neighborhoods.
but
It is
when
online.
you don't have a computer.
Okay. Well, if you
You
don't
can
have
go
a
down.
computer,
They'll print it out for you.
311, or you can go to the public library.
Library.
Yes.
Get your copy from there, and the library is certainly available to everyone,
Yes.
and they will see that you get.
And they can.
whatever
They'll
copies.
actually send it to you on your phone in a PDF, and you
Really?
can open
That's
it.
possible?
Yeah.
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 Well, you can look
Okay.
at the Houston TX. I believe it is HoustonTX.gov.
Okay.
Possibly. Yes.
I got a call and a note, Monica, and somebody is asking me this.
Okay.
What do you do is the neighborhood responsible? Can the neighborhood association, the civic club, do anything about homes that you feel there's nefarious activity going on in? If there's drugs being sold, or possibly you sense that there is people being trafficked there, or maybe some prostitution going on. You don't know it for sure, but by the looks of everything, there's always people coming and going at all hours of the night, and you are afraid for the safety and the safety of your neighbors. Can the civic club or organization address anything like that?
Absolutely.
And how would they go about doing that?
They would do so discreetly by contacting the police department.
Do not approach that neighbor.
Do not. Please do not, because you never know what's really going on inside of some homes. And if you see it or you suspect it, there's something probably going on that's not right.
Right.
And you don't want to be retaliated, because you'd be surprised of what things people can do and will do. Right. So you don't want them to know. And you can always contact the police department anonymously. They will ask you for your name and your phone number. I do not wish to give personal information.
Okay.
And that is something, because now
can they disclose
that particular address is tagged, and it is, logged in that there has been complaints at this address. And don't let just one person call. If you got a concern, many people should call about it. And they will do a welfare check. If you feel like children are in some place and people are unsafe, do a welfare check. Hey, this address, I'm not going to give you my information, but this is the address, because I'm going to tell you. Right. Sometimes police officers will come to your home.
Really?
I've had that to happen. I have neighbors in my community will call me before they call the police. Only because they have been in a situation where they've called the police, told them who they were, gave their phone number. Police couldn't see what they called about, so they went to their house. Well, the neighbor's standing right there looking at them. So of course. And then, there's problems at that point.
Right.
So they'll call me. I know how to do it, certainly, and I make sure that the issue is addressed.
Yes.
From a distance. But we can get it addressed, certainly. You just have to make the call.
Monica, there are many people who sit in the shoes of someone like Nick, who is in a neighborhood, who likes their neighborhood, but has some concern about things that are going on in their neighborhood, and they want to do something about it. Would you encourage them or discourage them from taking that leap into starting a civic club?
Encourage, by all means. It's one of the best things, and it's so rewarding to be able to do something and then know that you were the one that initiated, and it's not always bad, because you just never know what situation people are in.
Right.
And some people don't know how to get out of certain things. And so we just have to kind of know that, if it's something that you can feel, it's something that you can see, then certainly, for you to act on it, would not be malicious. Right. It would be out of concern.
Yes. Have you ever, and I got another little message here that says, and see, people want the juicy part of it. Have you ever been in a situation where you've been afraid, or that it's been kind of a scary situation because you've had to initiate something through the civic club? Or is that a common thing?
I'm going to say yes and no. It's kind of a double-edged sword for me, because if it's something that I feel, and I believe in trying to protect everyone, and here again with my seniors, that is something for me to be able, because they raised me. They helped raise me. So now it's my time to give back and to make sure that they're okay.
Yes.
With new neighbors coming in, all this loud music and everything. No, you're not going to disturb Miss John next door, because guess what? Miss John she goes to bed at a certain time. So, and I welcome anybody into a community, but you're going to have to live the way that we are accustomed to living in this community.
Right.
Or, there's consequences. And then the landlords or the owners of the properties are involved at some point, because of the fact that they're contacted. The tenants, they could care less. Right. But the owners are the ones that are going to be cited. So if they don't mind paying whatever fees they're going to be, then that's where it's going to go. But, we want everybody to get along. But as far as having fear, this is one of those things that if you're gonna do it, we got to stay safe. First
Right.
of all,
Safety
because
first.
we don't know the
Safety
mentality of a lot of people. Retaliation is real.
Yes.
So, and I had a couple of things to happen, but after I had to confront a couple of people, then it was a situation that,
But
you don't mess with that lady.
Yeah, but you're not encouraging anybody to confront any of these people.
No, please.
It's crazy out here these days. Yes.
Yes, it is. But within the 18 years,
Yes.
I would say, I've seen a big difference.
Right.
And now I would handle people totally different
Right.
than I would have 10 years ago.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, you got
because
to.
you don't
got
know
to.
a lot of people and
Yeah.
who they know. But certainly we can't live in fear.
Right.
In our own communities, I refuse to live in fear.
Right. Monica, let me ask you this really quickly. And Nick, you pointed this out not too long ago. When you first moved into your neighborhood, the majority of your neighbors were homeowners. In that 14 years, you have a lot of renters who are in now. How is it, Monica, the best way to incorporate the renters into the civic association and make and hope that they will have the pride of keeping that area, the livability up for that area too? Can you do that?
You can, and include them.
Yes.
Okay. By all means, include them in anything that you do.
Okay.
And you tell them, as long as you're here, you're going to be the one that I want to communicate with. Now,
Right.
we have to go to the landlord or the owner. It must be something mighty bad.
Right.
But this is your home while you're
Right.
here.
Right.
Yes.
So we're going to expect you to do the same things. And hey, just
And you're going to have the same benefits.
you'll have the same
Yes.
benefits.
As anyone else who's living in that. So Nick, I hope that having Monica here has helped you a whole lot in maybe making that decision to go ahead and just kind of step out and see if that interest is actually there. You were saying that you do have a neighbor, another guy in the neighborhood who's also interested, and maybe
Right.
would you suggest to people in tandem get together and organize? Because Nick said a neighbor was also interested at another opposite end of the community.
The more, the merrier. The more, the better. Yes,
Right.
definitely.
So, Nick, do you have anything else you want to ask Monica about, or pick her brain on? Because this would be the brain to pick on anything that has to do with the civic association or the neighborhood association. And you don't have to be incorporated or anything.
No,
Okay.
of course not. No.
Okay.
Now, the city recognizes, civic club.
That's what I was just getting ready to ask you. You were
Yes.
telling us that down at the city,
Mhm.
any civic club, there's a list of the civic clubs and their
Presidents' phone numbers.
yes.
Everybody. Yes, you can get that information any
Okay.
day because that's
Okay.
public information.
Is there a meeting that takes place between the civic club presidents? Can you go to meetings where you all meet together and share ideas and things that have worked?
Yes, that is called the Coalition of Civic
Okay.
Clubs.
Mhm.
And we do have one, the Southeast Coalition of Civic Clubs, in which I am the assistant secretary
Okay.
of that organization. And
Yes.
we normally meet on the first Thursday of every month. We used to be at the college on Airport, but now we've
Okay.
been doing Zoom meetings. So
Yes.
I would suggest, to kind of get involved. If you find somebody that has a civic club, then just kind of key in, or somebody in the community, then certainly that's what you want to do.
Okay.
Is because
Thank you,
guys
Monica.
you will have some of the same,
Issues. That's
issues.
right.
Yeah, most definitely. Yes.
Well, I want to thank you both, Monica, and thank you so much, Nick, for being here, because I guarantee you, in the seat that you're sitting in, there are probably 100 other people who are in neighborhoods right now in the Houston area. It doesn't matter if it's a small neighborhood, if it's a large neighborhood. It can be a mobile home community.
Yes.
Any community that you're in. Let me ask you this, Monica, really quick, because I only got about a minute and a half.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of people who live in an apartment community starting a civic association? Aside from the landlord at the apartment, do people get together in apartment associations and come together?
I have not heard that, but that would not be out of the ordinary.
Right.
And certainly they could participate in a civic club if that complex is within a community that has a civic club.
Okay.
And they don't have to have permission from that complex to start an organization.
Now, I don't know, because
Okay.
see, what you want to do is when you get involved in organizing,
Yes.
then there are certain rules and regulations.
Okay.
That you would have to abide by. Now,
Okay.
that would be one that the city would have to talk about. But as far as the person that lives in a community or a apartment complex, latching on to a active organization, I don't see any problem with that, because anybody can become members of a civic organization.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Nick A.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Monica S. And I want to, Monica, can you please give us any information that you have, so that if we want to contact you, tell us about your business, tell us about the floors, tell us how we can contact you and get to know you a little bit better.
Okay. Well, I can give my phone number, certainly.
Okay. But you are tell us about your business. You are.
I am a florist.
Yes. She has
2004.
beautiful arrangements for everything you need.
Thank you. Flowers by Monica, and we have been in business since 2004 on Homestead, 9210 Homestead.
Telephone number?
Telephone 713-631-6800.
Okay, guys out there, gentlemen, if you just want to send your wife a bouquet every week, once a month, just for her being wonderful, definitely contact Flowers by Monica. Nick, do you want to plug any business or anything that you want to talk about? Yes.
I work at a Forest Lawn for the Home in the evenings.
Yes.
I sell pre-needs plans.
Okay.
And you can also do payments plans. And I've been with this business and for myself 25 years.
Yes.
So
how would they contact you?
They can contact me at 832-996-9852.
Very good. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Please, again, these guests are in no way endorsing a campaign or a candidate. However, I want to tell you, I am Crystal Dillard. I am running for State Representative District 131 right here in Houston. Want to go from the schoolhouse to the State House. I'm the one in the trenches with your kids every day in the classroom, and I want to make sure that that we are doing the best thing we can for them. Please go to my Facebook page, Crystal Dillard for Texas. Donate, support my campaign, and we'll see you next week. Thank you, my guests. Bye-bye.
Thank you.